Alright, so for this video, just going to go over practice test 1, all the questions, and just show you how to work them all out and give you kind of the solutions here. Alright, so for 1A, our goal is to find the coordinates of the vertex, and if we can remember that the vertex is found by taking the negative b and dividing it by 2a, that gives us our x value, and then the k value is represented by just evaluating the function at that point of h. Okay, so let's find h here. And when I say negative b or 2a, I'm talking about the coefficients here in our quadratic. All right, so whatever's with the x squared is called a, whatever's with x is called b, and then whatever our constant term is c. So I have the negative of b, which is negative 6, over 2 times the coefficient with x squared is 1, so I just have 2 times 1. Alright, so h is negative of negative 6, so 6 over 2, which is just 3. Okay. Now to find k, I'm just going to go and plug 3 into my function. So k will equal 3 squared minus 6 times 3 plus 5. And so k is equal to 9 minus 18 plus 5, which is negative 4. So the vertex that for this quadratic is at the point 3, negative 4. Okay, so that is the vertex. Then to decide if this vertex represents a maximum or a minimum, just to remember that if a is greater than, if a is greater than 0, all right, so if a is positive, then we have something that is concave up, or it opens up. And then if a is less than 0, we have something that is concave down, right? Well, here our a was 1, so it's greater than 0, so it will be at the bottom. So we do have a minimum here. Okay. All right. For question 2, we have that a company's revenue function is equal to this r of x. Is equal to 800x, and its cost function is this 550x plus 3,000. All right, so our goal here, first we need to write our profit function, and just a reminder that profit, p of x, is equal to the revenue minus the cost. Okay. So profit of x is equal to, my revenue is 800x, minus, here's something that a lot of people miss, so just make sure, you have to subtract off the entire cost function. Okay, so you have to subtract off the entire cost function. So I have 800x minus 550x minus 3,000. Okay, this is the part that a lot of people miss, is the minus the 3,000 there. So make sure you make sure that you are subtracting off the entire cost function. All right, 800x minus 550x is 250x minus 3,000. So here is our profit function. Okay. All right. Now for part B, we want to find the break-even point, or it could be a points. Here, since it's a power of 1 for x, it's just going to be 1 break-even point. But we have 2 ways to do this. We can either say the profit of x is equal to 0, or you can say that the revenue of x is equal to the cost of x. Okay, whichever way you choose, you're going to solve for x ultimately is what's going to happen. So I'm going to do it to where we have the profit function equal to 0. All right, so my profit function from part A is equal to 0. And now I just solve for x. I had 3,000 over. I get 250x is equal to 3,000. I want to divide by 250. Divide by 250. And x equals 12. Okay, so my break-even point is at x equals 12, right? All right. So for question 3, I want to compute the difference quotient for this function. And so just as a reminder what the difference quotient is, here we're using g of x, but the standard difference quotient is the f of x plus h minus f of x, all divided by h. All right, so my g of x, right, just remember g and f and all that, the names of the function are replaceable. So 3x squared minus x. Now I need to figure out what g of x plus h is. And so I'm going to plug x plus h in everywhere that I have an x. So if I had an x, I should replace it with x plus h. Okay, make sure you include parentheses too, because you're replacing the entire quantity of x with the entire quantity of x plus h. All right, so now I'm going to do some whatever algebra that I have to do to expand this out. So this is 3 times x plus h times x plus h minus x minus h. So make sure that negative distributes to both. So after foiling, I get 3 times x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x minus h. I'm going to go ahead and distribute that 3 and get 3x squared plus 6xh plus 3h squared minus x minus h. So this is my entire g of x plus h function. Now I'm going to plug it in to that difference quotient function. So I have 3x squared plus 6xh plus 3h squared minus x minus h minus my original function 3x squared minus x. Okay, again, parentheses are a big deal here, all divided by h. Okay, I know it looks like a lot, but I promise it won't be, right? So if we notice, we have 3x squared here minus a 3x squared here, so those go away. I have negative x here plus, right, because I have minus a negative x over here, so that goes away. All right, and so like I'd mentioned before, you should only be left with things that just have x's, or excuse me, that have h's in them. So you have 6xh plus 3h squared minus h, all divided by h. Now, since they all have an h in them, I can just divide h out of everything. And I am left with 6x plus 3h as the difference quotient for this given function. Excuse me, not just 6x plus 3h minus 1 here because of h being divided by h. That's a negative 1. Okay. So for that difference quotient, I have 6x plus 3h minus 1. Okay, to calculate the difference quotient. All right. For question 4, my goal is to find the equation of a line that passes through the point 27 and has a slope of -3. So we write lines with y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope, b is the y-intercept. Okay. Well, I have some points for x and y. I've got m, so all I need to do is plug this all in. So I'm going to say that 7 is equal to -3 times my x value of 2, and what I need to figure out is b. All right, so I get 7 equals -6 plus b. I'm going to add 6 over, and I get that b is 13. So the line that would pass through those points with a slope of -3 is -3x plus 13. Okay. All right. And so for question number 5, the last question, and this will be very similar to on the test where you won't have to solve anything, you just have to set it up. So we have this quadratic formula, or you want to use the quadratic formula to set up to find the solution for this quadratic equation. The key component here is that to use the quadratic formula, the quadratic equation has to be equal to 0. So everything has to be moved to one side of the equal sign. All right, and so the quadratic formula is -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. Okay. And so just to clarify, a for our quadratic is 5, b is -2, and c is -8. Okay. So you should have x is equal to the negative of -2 plus or minus -2 squared minus 4 times a is 5 times c is -8, all divided by 2 times 5. And that will be your answer. Okay, so that will be it. So there's no need to solve. You don't need to simplify anything. That is your answer. I just want to see you be able to set it up. Okay. All right. If you have any questions for me, please let me know. I hope that we're in class on Friday and can talk about this in person. But if you do have any questions in the meantime, just send me an email and we can meet if we need to. And have a great rest of your day.